And we are back on Capitol Tonight. We are joined now on the phone by someone whose community avoided the worst of the post-Irene flooding in the Mohawk Valley. However, still, there is some damage there. Mark Galasso is the mayor of Cobleskill. He's also the president of Lancaster Development. He can add some insight here into the extent of bridge and dam and road repair that will be necessary following this storm. Thanks very much for your time, Mayor. It's good to hear from you.
It's good to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
So tell me about what you are seeing, and just 10 miles, compared to just 10 miles away, the devastation that we have seen video of in the Schoharie Valley.
Yes, in the village and surrounding areas of Cobleskill, there was extensive flooding, certainly not to the degree of what occurred in the Schoharie River Valley, but there were road washouts, temporary closures, significant property damage, but most of what we've seen locally is somewhat isolated and is, by comparison, manageable. Our neighbors to the east in Middleburg and Schoharie were not nearly so lucky.
Do you think that the state was adequately prepared, that local elected officials such as yourself were adequately prepared?
I don't know that it's possible to be prepared for a storm, and I've heard conflicting reports whether it was a 100-year event or a 500-year event.
Right.
Regardless, this was a major storm event. It's compounded by the fact that this has been a very wet year. The ground is saturated. The water table is at a very high level, abnormally high for August, and there was literally no place for the water to go but to flood. And so the extent of the flooding was more than anyone could ever remember. I mean, I've lived in Schoharie County my entire life, and I've never seen water flooding onto roads that some of these roads had 5 feet of water, and I've never seen a drop on them before.
But from a big picture standpoint, let's talk about the state's preparation writ large, if you will. I mean, in your private life, you're a contractor, as I mentioned earlier, and you know, and we've done some reporting on this, that the state is well aware of the fact that its infrastructure is not where it should be. And I'm not talking about the Tappan Zee, although that is a problem. I'm talking about little bridges that are now no longer with us, and dams that people were worried about.
That's right. If you look in Schoharie County and going into Montgomery County, the path of the Schoharie River from the Gilboa Dam, every bridge is closed for safety concerns, both for concern that the bridges may have scoured and also for concern of the dam because of the amount of water that flows across it.
What does that mean? I'm sorry, what does that mean?
When the water flows under a bridge at high velocity and high volume, which is what occurs in a bridge or in a flood scenario,
right,
all that water is funneled into a choke point at the bridge. And when that happens, its speed accelerates, and it creates a vortex effect, a whirlpool effect, on all the corners of the bridge that can erode the embankments on either side of the stream channel.
Okay.
Which can then erode out from underneath the concrete foundations of the bridge and can force the bridge to collapse.
Okay.
A historical example, 1987, the Thruway Bridge collapse.
Right. Right.
A very similar set of circumstances.
So, I mean, to that end, then, I mean, the fact that we are talking a lot about the lack of investment in infrastructure in the state, could any amount of infrastructure have protected some of these small bridges from that sort of scenario?
Yes. We just learned literally 20 minutes ago that emergency management has opened the Route 7 bridge in Central Bridge, New York. It's the bridge that crosses the Schoharie just south of the village of Schoharie. That bridge is one of the newest bridges that spans the Schoharie Creek. And it was built to a very high standard relative to flood risk design. It had concrete piles, a very robust concrete structure below it, and so it was the one best suited for emergency management to declare it safe for use, whereas literally just a couple hundred feet upriver from that bridge are the two bridges for the Interstate 88. Now, those bridges were built in the late 70s. They are still not safe to open.
So, Mayor, I'm
Yes.
sorry, forgive me. I don't want to run out of time before I am able to ask
Sure.
you this last question. The governor today declined to put an estimate on how much it might cost to clean up all of this, to put our infrastructure right. And that's not even when you start with the private sort of damage that we've seen to people's homes and to their cars, obviously, to their property. Could you estimate from your professional standpoint how long this could take, a rebuilding effort like this?
Well, even the fastest bridge is going to take 2 years to fix, from initial design through construction. So some of this could drag out 3, 4, 5 years, and that's assuming the money's there to do it.
Right.
We don't have the money in this state or in this country right now to fix the problems that we knew about before this happened.
Right.
Now you've got this exponential increase in need and no increase in funding, and it's only going to make matters worse.
Yes, the governor says that he thinks that we could do this within the confines of the budget. The federal government, of course, through FEMA will be assisting us, but it is going to be a considerable bill, it looks like, from what you are seeing here with this video, what you've experienced, Mayor. I want to thank you so much for making time for us. I know that you've been awfully busy, and thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you.